Got him! First cast!
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another mystery tackle box tips and tricks video. I'm Matt from SB Fishing TV. Today we're going to be doing a quick review and inside look at 10,000 Fish's brand new Yoto worm. So when I got this in the mail the other day, I was really surprised. The first thing that I noticed was the overall profile of this bait. I was told that they were sending me a new worm that 10,000 Fish had just created, and I truly didn't know what to expect, but that was the first thing that jumped out to me was this profile. So this time of year, super hot water, summertime, the fish are usually deep. I find, and most of the fish that I am chasing are truly after shad. So this shad profile is just perfect, and I really think that we're going to be able to catch a ton of fish this summer on this specific worm. It wasn't only the profile that jumped out at me, it was the overall versatility that this Yoto worm brings. There's so many different ways that you can rig this thing up. You can use it as trailers, you can use it as a Texas rig, you can throw it weightless. We'll get into all of those things. So in this video, we're going to do a quick review on the Yoto worm. I'm going to show you a few different ways how to rig this bad boy up, and then we are going to talk about when to fish it and how to fish it in different conditions. So at a first look with this Yoto worm, you can see that shad presentation. It has this tapering tail, and the body is molded with all of those ribs running down it. And something cool that 10,000 Fish did was they added hook channels on every side for the hook to come through. So pretty much no matter how you're fishing this, you can keep it fairly weedless. It does have a crazy tail action, as you can see. Even just holding it in your hand, that thing is going wild. I immediately thought of throwing this on the scrounger. That was like the first thought that crossed my head. It has the profile of a fluke, and it's a little bit wider bodied, so I figured that the action would just be insane. So we're definitely going to throw it around on the scrounger a little bit today, and probably drag it around on a drop shot in a Texas rig. So speaking of Texas rig, that's something else that they took notice in. So this head actually sits perfectly flush with a Texas rig weight. So you have your standard bullet weight sit on top, and it looks like it's the nose of that worm. So this is a 4 3/4 inch worm, and there are just so many different ways that you can fish this. You can fish it weightless, you can throw it on the back of a swim jig, a spinnerbait, a chatterbait, you can throw it on the scrounger, you can fish it as a Texas rig, drop shot, shaky head, the list goes on. They're also coming out with a bunch of different colors for this, so you'll be able to fish it in plenty of different water clarities, and truly you'll be able to fish this bait year round. Alright, so we're going to go over a couple different techniques you can use this Yoto worm with. So first, and the one I'm most excited for, is the scrounger. This I'm going to fish for suspended fish. Try to find them off of points or deep drop-offs where I see bait, and just drop this thing down, basically count it down to where you're seeing the fish, and just work it really erratically back to the boat. So really quick reels and pauses, you can rip the rod, you can do a straight retrieve as well, but that tail just gives this presentation so much action, it looks just like a shad. Next up is going to be Texas rig. As I showed you guys earlier, how that Texas rig weight sits perfectly flush with the head of the Yoto worm. And another cool thing is with the hook channels, this bait is going to be like ultra weedless. So it's going to be easy to fish around grass and through wood. And if I'm not catching those suspended fish that I'm looking for, that's when I'll pick up this Texas rig and start jigging it around. And this is going to imitate just a dying shad, just working its way off the bottom, looking like it's on its last leg, but I can guarantee that this is going to get bit. A drop shot would be another really good presentation for you. And normally I would nose hook it because of the size of this and having these smaller Texas rig style drop shot hooks, especially since they're such light wire hooks and you're fishing it on really light line, you're going to want that hook to be through the nose so you have the best hookup ratio. So that's what you're going to want that to look like. And again, this is going to be sitting on the bottom, and that tail has so much action to it. It's just going to look like a little shad or bait fish there on the bottom. Look at that tail. Look at that tail. It's crazy. So I just pulled up on a main lake point, and I'm fishing this scrounger with the Yoto worm on it. And I'm counting down to about 10 seconds, so I know it's 10 feet down. I'm just going to work this thing over the point. I marked a bunch of bait on it. Saw some fish underneath, which is like the perfect setup for throwing this. Gonna see if we can't catch some. Probably fish a bunch of main lake points with this. All right, so when it comes to fishing this Yoto worm on the scrounger, something you want to look for: suspended fish. So you want to find bait on your graph and look for those big arches underneath it, or coming through it, which would be even better because that means they're feeding. I'll mainly start looking for those spots like on main lake points, bluff walls, and deep ledges or deep offshore cover like big trees or rock piles. And wind always helps when you're fishing this presentation, like just even a little bit like this, like a nice 5-mile-an-hour breeze. You want to cast this bait out and let it sink down to about where the bait is or just below. So if you're marking bait in 10 feet of water, let it fall to about 12, and then you're going to have to figure out how the fish are going to want it. Sometimes you can slow roll it through there. Sometimes you have to work it really erratically with like quick reels and pauses. Sometimes it's just like a straight retrieve. So let the fish tell you what they want. One more tip for you: if you're fishing the Yoto worm with the scrounger and you're fishing it through big bait schools, like tens of thousands of shad, I like to spray the tail with a little bit of chartreuse, just like that, just to help them pick your bait. It's gonna make it stand out a little bit. First cast, come on. Got him! First cast! Feels pretty decent. Feels like he doesn't know he's hooked. Oh, he's in it. Oh yeah, get in here.
Oh yeah.
There we go. Scrounger with the Yoto worm. Getting it done with a solid 3.5 pounder. Oh yeah. Little guy. Get in here. Thought he was going to be big. So besides the drop shot, scrounger, and Texas rig, you can also throw this around on the back of a swim jig, or you could go with a chatterbait. And then you could always throw it on the back of a shaky head too, just as the back of the package says there. But if you guys are looking for a new worm to try out that's going to have that shad presentation, definitely check out the 10,000 Fish Yoto worm. So hopefully these tips are going to help you with how to rig these things up and when to fish them. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you're looking forward to the 10,000 Fish Yoto worm. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on Mystery Tackle Box's YouTube channel. See you on the next one.